Welcome to this tutorial about postgraduate international fellowships. My name is Cindy Scharschmidt and I'm the Director of Student Fellowships and Study Abroad at the University of Washington, Tacoma in our Office of Global Affairs. Please have either pen and paper or a computer handy so you can take notes during this video. Here's what we'll cover today. I will briefly explain what fellowships are and then share several examples of international fellowship opportunities. We will also talk about how to apply, and I will highlight some resources for the application process. So, fellowships are prestigious, merit-based competitive scholarships that fund a variety of different opportunities. I've grouped those into the following 4 categories. The first one is undergraduate research and scholarly work. So if you're interested in researching a topic in your field in more depth, you can apply for funding to do so. The second group are international opportunities. There are lots of fellowships out there that fund study abroad, language study, graduate school, or teaching English abroad. There are quite a few fellowships that fund students who are activists or who aspire to careers in public service. And finally, there's funding for graduate school for the most outstanding students who show great promise in their field of interest. Today, we will only talk about international fellowships today, and specifically postgraduate international fellowships. Please refer to the Intro to Fellowships tutorial for more information about the other kinds of fellowships that are mentioned on this slide. Before I share examples of international fellowships, I actually want you to take a moment to think about the following question. If money were not an issue, where would you love to travel? And most importantly, why? Be sure to pause the video and return to it after you're done reflecting on this question. The Fulbright U.S. Student Program is a grant sponsored by the U.S. Department of State that provides funding for 1 academic year of graduate level study, research, or teaching English in one of over 140 countries. Most grantees plan their own program of study or a research project, except for those who are applying to teach English abroad. The eligibility requirements for the Fulbright are as follows. You have to be a U.S. citizen in order to apply, and you must have your bachelor's at the time that you go abroad. That means the earliest you could apply will be in the fall right before your senior year. Just so that you know, you apply about a year in advance. You can also apply as a recent graduate or while you're in graduate school. The campus deadline tends to be in early September and the national deadline in October. Here are a few examples of UW-Tacoma students and alumni who have received a grant through the Fulbright U.S. Student Program. Our first ever Fulbright student scholar was Lisa Garcia, who was a 2013 graduate of our Politics, Philosophy, and Economics program. She spent a year as an English teaching assistant in Brazil. And I always like to point out that Lisa applied twice before she was selected for the program. She clearly wanted this opportunity badly enough so that she was motivated to apply a second time around. Lisa, like many of our students, is a first-generation college student, meaning she is the first in her family to graduate with a bachelor's degree. Here we have Maxime Rousseff, who actually earned 2 degrees from the University of Washington, Tacoma, both in accounting, an undergraduate and a graduate degree. And he ended up receiving also a Fulbright English Teaching Assistant award, but in this case to Bulgaria. He's another one of those applicants who applied twice and was selected the second time and had a fantastic time in Bulgaria, where he taught English in a small town called Burgas, and also coached a local basketball team and started a debate club at his school. Here we have Sophie Knapp, who is a 2016 graduate of UW-Tacoma. She is a student who came back to college after spending almost 10 years working in the healthcare field. She earned a bachelor's in computer science and systems and also served as our student body president in her last year of college. On her Fulbright, she went to Cambodia, and she was working with a local non-for-profit that focused on digital literacy projects with young people. The next scholarship I want to talk about is the Luce Scholarship. The Luce Scholarship provides a stipend, language training, and professional placements in 17 countries in Asia. The foundation selects about 15 to 18 scholars per year, and you would receive intensive language training prior to working. This is an opportunity for applicants with either no or very limited experience in Asia. In order to be competitive for the Luce, you can't have spent more than 18 weeks in an Asian country, and you cannot be an Asian studies major. Successful candidates typically have a record of high achievement, outstanding leadership ability, and clearly defined career interests with strong evidence that you'll be successful in your professional career. In order to apply for the Luce Scholarship, you will need to be either a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident. You have to be under 30 years of age, and you need to have your bachelor's degree by the time the grant starts. That means you can apply as you're finishing up your undergraduate degree, but also as a recent graduate or young professional. This award requires university nomination, and our campus deadline is typically in early September. Here's another question for you. What are one or two of the most significant courses you've taken in preparation for your career? Again, be sure to pause the video and return to it after you're done reflecting on this question. By the way, in case you're wondering, I'm including these questions to help you prepare your application. You will have to answer most of these questions when you apply to these competitive fellowships, so this is a great way to start the thinking process early on. The Schwartzman Scholars Program provides funding for one-year master's programs at Tsinghua University in Beijing, and it's specifically a master's program in global affairs. There are three possible concentrations, and they are public policy, economics and business, and international studies. You can find a more detailed list of the coursework on the Schwartzman website. The program's goal is to create stronger links between China and the rest of the world and to develop a deeper understanding of China among future leaders. Up to 200 scholars are selected annually from all over the world. In addition to the coursework, the program includes significant leadership and professional development. Schwartzman scholars complete an internship, participate in intensive study tours in China, and learn from mentors. You must have completed your undergraduate degree before the Schwartzman Scholars Program starts. You also have to be proficient in English and must be between 18 and 28 years old. Schwartzman scholars are selected based on their academic aptitude and intellectual ability, but also based on their leadership potential, entrepreneurial spirit, their ability to anticipate new trends and opportunities, exemplary character, and a strong desire to understand other cultures, perspectives, and positions. There are two deadlines for the Schwartzman program. May is the deadline for passport holders of China, Hong Kong, Taiwan, and Macau, and September is the deadline for everybody else. Next up is the Bonderman Travel Fellowship, and pictured here are three UW-Tacoma alumni who have been recipients of this very unique fellowship. The Bonderman provides funding for 8 months of solo travel to at least 6 countries in 2 world regions. Yes, you heard that right. You simply travel. You're not allowed to conduct any formal study or research project, nor are you allowed to engage in any volunteer work. This is simply an opportunity to be transformed by travel. Up to 16 of these fellowships are awarded every year, 8 for graduating seniors and 8 for graduate students. Bonderman Fellows receive a $23,000 stipend, and you will be traveling to so-called non-traditional or non-westernized countries. So you can go anywhere besides Europe, Canada, Australia, or New Zealand. But again, just about anywhere else that is safe to travel to. Here are the eligibility requirements. You can apply either as a graduate student or a graduating senior with at least a 3.55 GPA. Or you can be a graduating senior in the Global Honors Program. The application deadline is in January. All right, this is the Critical Language Scholarship. And again, pictured here are 2 students who were recipients of this prestigious fellowship, one of whom studied Arabic in Jordan, and one pursued Chinese study in China. The Critical Language Scholarship is a U.S. Department of State-sponsored program. It offers fully funded intensive summer language institutes in 15 so-called critical languages. Those include Arabic, Korean, Chinese, Japanese, and Russian, and more. If you want to see the full list of languages, please refer to the Critical Language Scholarship website. The summer institutes are about 8 to 10 weeks long. And like I mentioned, they're fully funded, which means that airfare to and from the country, visa costs, the actual language instruction, room, board, and any travel and excursions that are part of the program within the country are covered by the Critical Language Scholarship. Here are the eligibility requirements. You do have to be a U.S. citizen in order to apply, and you must be an enrolled student at the time of application. The application deadline is typically in November, but if you are planning to graduate the year after, you can still apply, meaning that as long as you're a student in November, you can participate in the program once you've graduated. Most languages don't require any prior study, but listed here are the exception. So Arabic, Persian, and Portuguese require 1 year of study prior to the Critical Language Scholarship, and Chinese, Japanese, and Russian require 2 years of college level study or equivalent in those languages. All right. So these were just a few examples of postgraduate international fellowships, and this is by no means comprehensive. If you're interested in additional opportunities, you can email tscholar@uw.edu for this 2-page handout of additional fellowship opportunities. If you're more interested in teaching English abroad, here's another handout. Again, this is 2 pages, and you can email tscholar@uw.edu to receive a copy. This is a list of opportunities for teaching English abroad that are administered either by a government agency or by a reputable international organization. I also have a separate video tutorial about teaching English abroad that is available on the UW-Tacoma Fellowships YouTube channel. So let's talk a little bit about the application process. I recommend that you start the process at least 2 to 3 months before the deadline if you can. I know that sometimes you find out about just the perfect opportunity just a few weeks before the deadline, and in some cases that can still work. But remember that these are competitive fellowships that require serious dedication and time and revisions in order to be competitive. The fellowship application process is also a great opportunity to think through your passions and to learn how to tell your story. It often allows you to connect the dots between your personal, academic, and professional lives and make you maybe see connections between those that you hadn't considered before. And those insights will be helpful in future applications to graduate school, for future jobs, etc., regardless of whether or not the actual fellowship comes through. Of course, applying can be an intense experience, and I know you're often doing this work on top of a lot of other commitments, including school and work and family. And so I'd like to suggest that you assemble a support team that can cheer you on during the application process, and let us or me be part of that support team. Most applications require that you fill out an online application form that looks surprisingly similar or asks for information that was typically included in your resume or CV. And you typically also write one or two or more essays, one of which is often a personal statement and the other one more of a statement of purpose in which you explain what it is that you're hoping to accomplish with the support of that particular fellowship. More often than not, you're also going to be required to submit transcripts, and most fellowships require letters of recommendation. The numbers vary, but the magic number tends to be 3. I also want to make sure that you hear from some of your peers. Every year we ask fellowship applicants to share advice with future applicants. This is the video with last year's applicants, and it can also be found on our YouTube channel. Like I said, the office is here for support, and we can provide additional advice on your application materials, meet one-on-one to discuss any of the fellowships that you're interested in more detail. I also review essay drafts and provide feedback on your materials, so be sure to send those to tscholar@uw.edu when you're ready. We can also help you strategize who and how to ask for letters of recommendation, and we offer a variety of workshops and info sessions. The schedule is on our website. And some fellowships require either campus interview or a nomination process of some kind. We facilitate that process as needed. All right, this concludes today's video. Here's contact information for the Student Fellowships unit within the Office of Global Affairs. You can find us in GWP 102. Email us at tscholar@uw.edu. Our website is tacoma.uw.edu/scholar. And we're also on Facebook, Twitter, and of course, YouTube. Thank you.